Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some books I'm excited to read in 2023. Today I'm going to talk about some of the most anticipated reads for me in 2023, or at least I should say the first half of 2023. I only went up till June because there are so many books that are coming out in 2023 that I can't wait to read that I need to do it like 6 months at a time. This is in no way an exhaustive list. There are plenty of books coming out that I still want to read. Some I just, probably haven't heard of yet. There's probably others, but I had to limit it. I narrowed it down to 10 books that I'm really excited to read. So with that, let's get into the video. So first up on the books I am anticipating in 2023 is You Should Have Told Me by Leah Conan. This actually came out yesterday as I'm filming this on January 3rd, and I am so excited to get it. I've heard nothing but good things. It's a thriller, which it's also been compared to some of my favorite thrillers, like books by Sally Hepworth and Alice Feeney, so I feel like I'm very much going to like this one. It is about a woman who has a small child, I think a baby, and her boyfriend one night just doesn't come home. And she's worried, of course, and then the police show up and say they found a body of a woman and they want to know where her boyfriend is. And she's like, I don't know. So that's about all I know, and I think this is a kind of cool book to go in blind to. It just sounds so good, and based on like the comp titles that I've seen like on Goodreads and from other people that have already read it, like it definitely seems like it's gonna be up my alley. So yeah, this one is already out. It came out yesterday, so you can go ahead and get it if it sounds interesting to you. The next book that I'm highly anticipating is Spare by Prince Harry. I think a lot of people have already heard about this. A lot of people have already made up their minds about whether or not they like this book just because about how they feel about the royal family and about Harry and Meghan. But I, for one, am very excited to read this. I am not super into the royal family. They're fine. I'm not very interested in them, but I think that they're lovely people probably. I just don't really care, but I am very excited to read a book by Prince Harry, and I want to see his side of the story about how things played out with the Queen and with Meghan. I think it's going to be great. It's going to talk a lot about his dealing with his mother's death at such a young age, and I just really think this is going to be interesting. I also love that all of the proceeds are being donated to British charities, including an organization that gives relief to people in Botswana that are dealing with HIV/AIDS. Additionally to Well Child, which is an organization that helps fund in-home care for children that need it, healthcare, and can't afford to have someone in home. So I think that's really cool, and I don't know, I think it's gonna be a great book. It's gonna be really cool to hear this all in his own voice. I definitely am gonna do the audiobook. This one comes out January 10th, so next Tuesday as I'm filming this, and it should be pretty popular. The next book that I'm anticipating is called Veno by Cherie Dimelin, and this one is one that I only just heard of on a different booktube channel, so I'm very excited about it. I'm honestly just gonna read you the synopsis from Goodreads because this is kind of complicated to explain, and let's let the author do it. Lucky St. James, a millennial living with her cankerous and loving grandmother Stella, is barely hanging on when she discovers she will be evicted from their tiny Toronto apartment. Then one night, something strange and irresistible calls out to Lucky. Burrowing through a wall, she finds a silver spoon etched with a crooked-nosed witch and the word Salem, humming with otherworldly energy. Hundreds of miles away in Salem, Myrna Good has been looking for Lucky. Myrna works for Veno, a front company fueled by vast resources of dark money. Lucky is familiar with the magic of her indigenous ancestors, but she has no idea that the spoon links her to Veno's network of witches throughout North America. Generations of witches have been waiting for centuries for the 7 spoons to come together, igniting a new era and restoring women to their rightful power. But as reckoning approaches, a very powerful adversary is stalking their every move. He's Jay Christos, a roguish and deadly witch hunter as old as witchcraft itself. To find the last spoon, Lucky and Stella embark on a rollicking, dangerous road trip to the darkly magic city of New Orleans, where the final showdown will determine whether Veno will usher in a new beginning or remain underground forever. I mean, tell me that doesn't sound incredible. We got witches, we got feminism, we got a road trip story. Like, to me, oof, we're checking all the boxes. I cannot wait to read this. Again, it comes out on February 7th, and I, for one, cannot wait to get my hands on it. The next book that I'm really anticipating is another thriller, and that is What Have We Done by Alex Finlay. This comes out on March 7th, and I cannot wait to read another thriller. This one follows a group of 3 adults who had grown up together in a group home where kids were mysteriously disappearing. And once the group home shut down, they ended up going their separate ways, but they are all basically called to reunite because there's someone trying to kill all 3 of them. That's about as much as I know, but it's enough to know that this is gonna be great. This is the same author that wrote Every Last Fear and last year, The Night Shift. I did not read Every Last Fear, but I did read The Night Shift and really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping this one will be a winner for me. And again, this one comes out March 7th. The next book that I am excited to read is The Donut Legion by Jo R. Lansdale. This comes out on March 21st, and it is a very unique subject and storyline. So this follows a man whose wife just like left. He doesn't know where she went. The police are kind of coming after, like, where is she? She disappeared. He finds all her stuff packed up in boxes. And so it seems like she just kind of skipped town, maybe bill collectors or whatnot. But the last place she had been working was at a donut shop run by like an evangelist, like doomsday cult. And it seems like maybe she ran off to their compound. They also, on this compound, they think this is where like the second coming of the Messiah will be. So let's see. Charlie, that's our main character, is basically just trying to track down his wife. So I think this is gonna be like a pretty funny, maybe not funny, but like an interesting and unique book with some humor. That's the impression that I'm getting based on the cover, based on the synopsis, and it seems like it's gonna be really good. I actually did get a copy from the publisher, so thank you to Mulholland Books for sending me a copy in advance. I can't wait to read this book. I'm really looking forward to reading it and reviewing it because it's definitely a unique sort of concept, and yeah, should be interesting. The next book is Community Board by Tara Conklin. This one comes out March 28th. So this I only just recently heard of, and it sounds right up my alley. It's about a woman who gets dumped by her husband or maybe boyfriend and ends up moving back home to her parents' house, where she finds out that her parents have also just moved to like Arizona to retire, but they still own the house, I guess. And so she's just holed up in her house, but she stumbles across like a community message board, you know, Nextdoor, a bunch of those. I don't really use any, but I know they exist, where, you know, people just post messages about stuff that's going on in their neighborhood. And basically that's what like kind of helps heal her from this traumatic breakup, and because like it gets her out of the house. So that's my understanding of what it's about. It sounds really good. I know this author wrote a book called The Last Romantics that I personally haven't read, but I've heard nothing but good things about. So I'm hoping this one will be similarly good. And some of my favorite Goodreads reviewers and bookstagrammers have already read this and really enjoyed it. So I am looking forward to it because a couple of them I have really similar taste to. So if they say 5 stars, I'm ready to listen. The next book that I am super excited for is called Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. This comes out on April 11th. I lied. This actually comes out on April 4th. So this is really interesting to me because it sounds just like an episode arc of 30 Rock that I loved. So if anybody is a fan, it will kind of remind you of the same thing probably. So it's about a comedy writer who writes on an SNL type sketch show and basically writes a sketch about how like a schlumpy comedian guy gets this super hot supermodel, and like because that is what happened to one of her like writer friends. So she writes this sketch about how that would never ever ever happen to if the genders were swapped. So like a kind of average looking woman would never be able to like date a super hot guy. And, you know, in real life, if that happened, media would probably be a little crueler to her than it would be the other way around. So basically, she's Liz Lemon, and it's like when she meets John Hamm, who is her neighbor turned love interest hottie. And basically, she's like, oh, is this happening to me in real life? So is the sketch that I wrote about, like, maybe not fully, I don't know. I hope this makes sense. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this because I'm trying to make too many parallels to 30 Rock, but I swear it makes sense. So basically, this woman is like, I just wrote this whole script about how an average looking woman couldn't get this hot guy, and now maybe this hot guy that's on my show is interested in me. That's a better summary. And yeah, it sounds so cute. And again, this has gotten really good reviews from people that I trust their reviews a lot. So I am just super excited to read this one. The next highly anticipated book for me is Quietly Hostile by Samantha Irby. This comes out on May 16th. This is nonfiction. If you have heard of her, she writes nonfiction essay collections that are absolutely hilarious. I don't think I've ever laughed out loud so hard as I do when I read her books. This is her fourth. They're all pretty similar, you know, just kind of stories and such about her life, but she is so funny, and a lot of her stuff focuses on being like a black, fat lesbian in the world. And I'm telling you, this stuff has me giggling. So I'm really looking forward to another book by her, and I think this one is going to focus a little bit more on how her life has changed, I guess, since she's become famous from her books, because, like, you know, she's now getting invited to like Hollywood parties because she's a successful writer, and she's like, I'm still just me though. So I think this is going to be a really great read, and I am looking forward to doing some more laughing at her new book. All right, next up is one that I am so looking forward to. This is probably one of the most anticipated books for me for the entire year, and that is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is the author that wrote the Poppy War series. This is quite a departure from it, from what I am gathering. If you read the book The Plot a couple years back, this has like a sort of similar idea, but with sort of a twist. So it is about these two women who went to college together, and one of them is Asian and the other is white. And the Asian one basically ends up having a lot of success as an author, and the white girl is just kind of not, because there's an abundance of white women writing. So the Asian girl writes this beautiful manuscript, but before she can submit it to anywhere, she ends up dying in a freak accident. And so the other girl is like, maybe I steal her manuscript, who's gonna know? And so basically she ends up having success, but it's like there is a lot going on under the surface as far as the fact that this book is about like Chinese contributions to the Brits during World War I, I think. Yeah. So basically the editor, you know, gets her like to take an ethnically ambiguous looking picture for her author photo, and she basically like rebrands her as an Asian woman. So it sounds super interesting, super, I don't know. This is just the kind of books that like I die for. Anything that's kind of like scammy or like, I don't know. I'm really excited, and I cannot wait for this one to come out. So again, like this is a departure from the genre I usually writes. I think it's usually more like epic fantasy such, but this will be good. I am so excited. Last but certainly not least is She Started It by Sean Gilbert. This comes out on June 13th. This one is being pitched as Lord of the Flies meets And Then There Were None, but like add Instagram and too much Prosecco. I mean, I'm here for it. So this is about a group of girls who I think are sort of all frenemies. They grew up together. They all kind of have like done their own thing, and they suddenly get a call from an old friend who like was, I guess, sort of a fringe friend on like the outskirts of their little group, and she's invited them all on like this crazy bachelorette party to private island in the Bahamas. And like there's a private plane, there's like all kinds of relaxation, cocktails, beaches, even though none of them has really spoken to her in some time. So she has definitely made a lot of money since they've met her, and they're all like, yeah, I mean, you used to be our friend, so like how could we turn this down? But then things aren't gonna go as planned is what I'm understanding. This is gonna be a really good one. It sort of reminds me of The Lion's Den by Kat St. John, which is a book I read a few years ago and really enjoyed. So I don't know. I mean, I know some people get all kind of fussed about thrillers that are maybe using the same sort of plot points, but like if it's something that I like, I certainly don't mind reading essentially the same story more than once. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's gonna be really, really good. And again, that comes out June 13th. So there you have it, my most anticipated books of the first half of 2023. I hope that you enjoyed this video and maybe found some books that you're now excited about as well. Don't forget, if any of these do sound good to you, I encourage you to pre-order because this helps authors out so much. It really does a lot for their sales and how much more promotion their books will get, and it's really something that you can do that's small to support authors that you love. I also wanted to quickly touch on the fact that HarperCollins Publishing has their workers on strike. They have been striking for 8 weeks because they deserve a fair contract and they haven't been given one by HarperCollins. And so while I did speak about a book or two that are published by HarperCollins in this video, I will not be reviewing any of their books on my channel until their workers have a fair contract that gives them the quality of life and benefits that they deserve. So I encourage you to not support HarperCollins at this time until their workers are back to work and they have a new fair contract. So thank you so much for being here. I am so happy to be starting this new year off fresh. I am recording this on my brand new camera, not my phone, so I am very excited about that. I hope you can tell in the quality. I hope you can tell in the sound quality. So let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what you're looking forward to this year, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.